In this video, we're looking at a problem where we're trying to figure out what row is a certain number in given a pattern. And the key is to look for a pattern for one set of numbers and then use that number to try to get to your answer. So for example, in this one that we've been given, it's a really basic example where the numbers are just consecutive and start from the left all the time. It says, what number would 173 occur in? Well, the best pattern actually exists in column F. And in column F, you notice that these are just multiples of 6. And they're multiples of 6 because there are 6 columns. And so the last entry in each of the rows is a multiple of 6. And so the first thing we do is we find the closest multiple of 6 to 173. And there's multiple ways you can do that. Using divisibility rules, we can see that 174, which is clearly divisible by 2, and divisible by 3, must be a multiple of 6. So if 174 is a multiple of 6, that means it's going to be in row F, or column F, and so we know that 173 is just going to be the entry before that. So now, if we can figure out what row 174 is in, then we'll know what row 173 is in, and that's the key. And so we do that by dividing by 6, because if you notice, 6 is the first multiple of 3, 12 is the second, 18 is the third. So we divide through by 6, that gets us 12, 54, carry the 9, and we find out that 174 is the last entry into row 29, so our answer is row 29, because 173 is just the element before that. Example 2 says, in a theater, the seat numbers increase with each row and follow a snake-like pattern. Starting from the right, the first row has numbers 1 through 8. Starting from the left, second row has numbers 9 through 16. Starting from, and this should say right, the third row has numbers 17 through 24, and so on. And so essentially what it's doing is, if this is our row 1, right here, it says starting from the right, which is kind of a little bit unusual, but we have to just do what the problem tells us. You're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you're going to go back, and starting for row 2, starting from the left, you're going to go 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And then starting from the right again, 17, 18. And so you can see this snake-like pattern that's developing. And so again, you're looking for a pattern. Now, when you've got these snake-like patterns, it actually works better to look for a pattern for every other row. And the best pattern is to recognize that at the end of the second row, or the even number row, is a multiple of 16. If you were to keep going here, you would see what's happening. But you always want to look for every other row. It's going to always make your life a lot easier, and usually it's going to be the end of the second row, or maybe that's going to show you where your pattern is. So multiple of that's the first multiple of 16, second multiple of 16, so on and so forth. In the end of the sixth row is going to be 48, which would be the third multiple of 16. So that allows us to get started on this problem. We do the same thing we did in the previous example, which is we're going to divide 235 by 16, because that's where our pattern is. And we divide 235 by 16, we get 14 remainder 11. So what that means is there are 14 16s that happen. And so if we kept listing out 16, 32, 48, so on and so forth, we would do that 14 times. But if you notice, 48 is the sixth row, but the third multiple of 16. So the 14 is going to get us somewhere down here, and notice that it's a remainder 11, so it's going to actually be 224, and so 224 is going to be at the end of and since it's 14, the 28th row. And so 224 is at the end of the 28th row. And so the 29th row is going to start with 225 and go 8 numbers, but since we've got a remainder 11, we need to go 11 numbers, and so 235 actually starts back into the 30th row. And so the answer to this question is it's in the 30th row. And so again, you look for patterns, you look for numbers that you can divide by, but you got to find some way to be able to put one number in a row that's near the number you're looking at and then go from there.